today. So we'll start off by singing the Damodarastakam. Okay. Now the Damodarastakam is, as the name suggests, it's an ashtaka, which means it's got 8 verses. Okay. And it tells us the whole story of Lord Damodara, and also gives us a lot of philosophical insights, which definitely we are not going to be able to cover in just this one session. So what we'll do is we'll go through the story today, and we'll see if we can cover some of the philosophy. If not, we'll look at the philosophy at another time. Okay. We can anyways weave it into our Bhagavad-Gita sessions as well. We'll also be learning the catur-shloki Bhagavad-Gita today. So we learn to recite the 4 verses, which are the seed verses or the root verses of the Bhagavad-Gita. Knowing these 4 verses is equal to knowing, who can tell me how many verses there are in the Bhagavad-Gita total?
700.
700. Yeah. So there are a total of 700 verses in the Bhagavad-Gita, and chanting these 4 verses is equal to chanting all 700. So you really can't ask for a bigger shortcut than that, na? So like Maggie 2-minute noodles, this is also 2-minute Bhagavad Gita.
4-minute noodles.
So four verses, and it takes, once you know the verses, it takes about 10 seconds to chant each verse. So under 1 minute, the full Bhagavad Gita, imagine. So isse jada jhatpat you can't get. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll share my screen, and I have the Damodarastakam here. So what I'll do is I'll sing and you can follow along. You can repeat after me. Yeah. I'll just share my screen. So this Ashtakam was composed by Satyavrata Muni and was spoken to Narada Rishi. So Shri Damodar Bhagwan ki
Jai.
Namamishwaram Chidanandarupam
Namamishwaram Satchidanandarupam
Lasat Kundalam Gokule Bhrajamanam
Lasat Kundalam Gokule Bhrajamanam
Bhavamanam Paramritam Atyanta Todrutya Gopya
Paramrishtam
So in this verse, it starts off with Namami Ishwaram, Ishwar ko, to the Supreme Controller. Namami, I bow down. Now, when we say Supreme Controller, immediately people go, oh, Bhagwan ka koi roop nahi hai. Na? Nirakar. So immediately Satyavrata Muni says, nah, he's not Nirakar. It's Nirakar doesn't mean he does not have no form. He has a form, except it is Sat Chit Ananda Rupam. So it is not a form like yours and mine. Ours is Sat. What does Sat mean? Who can tell me?
Eternal knowledge, bliss.
Excellent. Sat Chit Ananda. Eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. So his form itself is eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss. Our form is definitely not eternal, here today, gone tomorrow. Full of knowledge, nah, full of ignorance. And bliss. वो कभी सुना नहीं, देखा नहीं वो चिड़िया को. We get happiness. Something happens, we are happy. Something that we want happens, we are happy. Something that we do not want happens, we are sad. Whereas Ananda means you're constantly at a bliss. There is no change in that state ever. And that is the Supreme Lord. his body itself is made up of Sat, Chit, Ananda. And then Satyavrata Muni says, Lasat Kundalam. His earrings, kundal, they are dangling. And Lasat means they are shining and touching his cheeks. Okay. Now, why does he talk about the kundalam next? Because the Lord is so beautiful. He is so beautiful. We wear, jewelry because we want to look good. When the Lord wears jewelry, the jewelry looks good. And this we can see, when we are at the temple, when we look at our Radha Krishna deities, you'll see that Krishna and Radharani are wearing all kinds of jewelry. When you actually look at the jewelry up close, it's cheap $2 beads. Really cheap stuff. And if you and I wore it, we'd look really silly. But when the Lord wears it, it looks so beautiful. So by saying Lasat Kundalam, Satyavrata Muni is saying how beautiful the Lord is. And Gokule Bhajamanam. He's running around in Gokula. And why is he running? Yashoda Bhiyo. Yashoda Bhiya means Bhaya. He is afraid of Mother Yashoda. Ulukalat Dhavama. And he's jumped down from a Okhal, and he's running away. Param at the back. Atyantato Drutya Gopya. And the Gopi is running after him. Who Gopi? His mother, Yashoda, is running really fast after him to try and catch him. Now, the story will come to after we've sung the song, okay? So we've just understood what the first paragraph means. The second paragraph. Rudantam muhurnetra yugmam mrijantam.
Rudantam muhurnetra yugmam mrijantam.
Karam bhoja yugmena shatam kanetram.
Karam bhoja yugmena shatam kanetram.
Muhushvasakam trirekhanka kantha.
Muhushvasakam trirekhanka.
Sthita graivam damodaram bhakti baddham.
Sthita graivam damodaram bhakti baddham.
So earlier we saw that Krishna is running away from Mother Yashoda in fear. And here it is saying, Rudantam, he's crying. Muhur netra yugmam mrijantam. And he's bar. Muhur means again and again. He's rubbing his eyes. With what? Karambhoja yugmena. With his two hands, with his two beautiful lotus hands. He's rubbing. And those eyes are satanka. They are full of fear. Muhu shvasa kampa trirekhanka kantha. His neck has 3 lines in it. Trirekha. Okay. So his neck kantha has 3 lines. And that is trembling. Kampa. Why? Because he is sobbing. Bachche rote na? When they cry, their whole neck goes. So Krishna is crying in fear and he's running away from his mother. Sita graivam damodaram bhakti baddham. Finally, Mother Yashoda catches him and ties him. Okay. So this much, let's look at the story. The story is, and I have the story here in pictures. So one morning, Krishna woke up. Now this is the day of Diwali. So on Diwali day, Krishna woke up early in the morning. Now Mother Yashoda, normally she's the queen of Vrindavan. And she has so many servants. But that particular day, she decided that she was going to do the manthan. Why? Because she had heard a lot of complaints from all the gopis. that Krishna and his friends came. They would always come, they would break the pots, they would climb and, get it from the top. If the gopis hid it somewhere. So there is a story. One day, a gopi decided, I'm going to take all the pots of butter and sit on it. So, she got a chair, put it all under her chair, and sat on the chair. And she would not move. So Krishna and his friends all came, okay, looking inside. Oh no, she's sitting over there. What to do? What to do? So what do? They went outside in the cow shed and opened all the calves. Now, usually the calves are tied and kept away from the mothers because otherwise the calves will go and drink all the milk. So Krishna went and untied all the calves, and all the calves started going to their mothers and drinking the milk. So Krishna came running inside and said, Hey Gopi, what are you doing sitting over here? Look, your calves are all running away. They have all gone to the mothers. So this Gopi goes, Oh my God, my milk. And she goes running. And Krishna and his friends, he take all the butter. Okay? So in this way, they would do a lot of naughty things. So Mother Yashoda thought, maybe, I should churn the butter myself and do a good job. Maybe, my maidservants are not doing a good job. So she sat and she started to churn the butter. And Krishna came to her in the morning and you can see, he's hugging her and he wants to drink milk. So she picks him up and puts him on her lap and starts to breastfeed him. As she's doing that, there is some milk that she's kept on the stove to boil, and that milk boils over. So when it boils over, she goes running into the kitchen to get the milk off the stove. She puts Krishna down and she runs away. Now Krishna gets very annoyed. Mujhe chhod ke, that milk is more important. How can my mother do this to me? So what did he do? That pot of butter that Mother Yashoda was churning, he took a stone and he broke it. And then he ran outside. And outside, there was more butter kept on top. So what did he do? He took a mortar or khal and he got on top of it and he took that butter and started distributing it to the monkeys. So here you go. So you have Krishna sitting and feeding butter to monkeys. And look at this monkey, each of the monkeys. There's even a monkey with its babies over there. And Krishna is happily feeding them all. Okay. And can you see his eyes? He's looking here and there, making sure that Mother Yashoda is not coming, okay? Because he knows he's being naughty. He knows he's going to get into trouble. Okay, so he's looking here and there and he's feeding all the monkeys. So this is what he did. He climbed on the motor again and he was getting more butter. And Mother Yashoda came there. And she looked at him. Krishna looked at her. She had a stick in her hand because she was thinking, my boy is getting to be very naughty. I need to control him. They say, na, when the kids are small, you should control them. Otherwise, when they become big, they become uncontrollable, then, somebody else will control them. So we don't want that happening. So she's taken the stick and she's coming there and Krishna sees her. And he's been busy feeding the monkeys, right? So Mother Yashoda says, what do you think you're doing? You're feeding my butter to the monkeys. Now the monkeys have eaten so much butter that when Krishna gives one handful to the monkey goes, So Krishna goes, what are you getting so upset about? This butter is so horrible. Even the monkeys don't want to eat it. Mother Yashoda got so annoyed. She said, you come here. And what did Krishna do? He just jumped and he started to run. Gokule Rajamanam. He's running all over Gokula. So here you have another picture of Krishna sitting and feeding the monkeys. And Mother Yashoda standing at the back of the stick. Okay. And the next thing, Krishna just jumps off and he is running all over the place with Mother Yashoda chasing him. And that is when he is looking back in fear and he's crying. Tears are flowing down his face. And he runs and he runs and he runs and he runs. And Mother Yashoda tries to catch him, but she's unable to catch him. Now, he's such a tiny little boy, but she can't catch him because he is the Supreme Lord. He's Ishwar. You can't run after Bhagavan and catch him. So finally, Krishna looks back and he sees that his mother is really tired. So he allows himself to get caught. Okay. Once he's caught, we'll come back to our song and we'll see what happens next, okay? The third paragraph. Iti driksvalila bhirananda kunde.
इति दृक्स्वलीलाभिरानन्दकुण्डे
Swaghosham nimajjantam akyapayantam.
स्वघोषं निमज्जन्तम् आख्यापयन्तम्
Tadiyeshitagneshu bhaktirchittatvam.
तदीयेषितज्ञेषु भक्तिर्जितत्वम्
Puna prematastam shatavritti vande.
पुनः प्रेमतस्तं शतावृत्तिवन्दे.
Now this Leela, this pastime, this playtime of the Lord is being watched by everybody in Gokul. Okay. Usually all the gopis come and complain to Mother Yashoda and Mother Yashoda says, no, my little boy, he can never do anything wrong. And today what is happening? Krishna is running through the streets with Mother Yashoda running after him with a stick saying, stop thief, ruk ja chor, come back here. Let me catch you. I'm going to beat you up. Okay, she's running after him. And everybody comes out and says, aha, look at this tamasha out here. Every day, Mother Yashoda used to say, my Krishna never does anything wrong. And look, today she's running after him with a stick. Na? So, iti drik swalilabhir ananda kunde swaghosham nimajjantam. Nimajjantam means dubana. To completely immerse. So Krishna is completely immersing Swaghosham, all his people, where in Vraja, in what? In Ananda Kunda, in the waters of ecstasy. Through this Leela, when people are watching this Leela, they are feeling so happy, so blissful. And in this way, he is repaying their bhakti. Bhakter jitatvam punah prematastam shatavritti vande. So, tadiyeshita gneshu. So, his people have this knowledge, gneshu. They already have the jnana, okay, that he is the Lord. Now, he is showing them this leela. Why? Because he wants to repay them for their bhakti. How does, in the Bhagavad-Gita, right? Krishna, what does he say? What are the reasons he gives for coming? For appearing? Does anybody remember? 3 reasons.
Whenever
Yes.
Whenever there is any uncertainty, that is anything going wrong against dharma,
Correct.
come and then protect the dharma. For that purpose, he takes the avatar and then control that.
Excellent. So that is one reason. There are 2 more reasons.
Yata yata hi dharmasya jnani bhagavad bharata. Says. Whenever
Okay.
it is in sanctity, at that time I will appear.
So that is correct. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir-bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. I appear. But why do I appear? What are the reasons for my appearance? Paritranaya sadhunam
Vinasaya.
vinashaya cha dushkritam
Dharma
dharma samsthapanarthaya. So out of the three reasons, one reason is what? To give pleasure to all the devotees. Paritranaya sadhunam. Protect the devotees, it says. But why? Krishna doesn't need to come to protect anybody. He doesn't need to come himself. No? So basically, our acharyas say that paritranaya sadhunam means that he comes to give pleasure to his devotees. Paritranaya sadhunam. Second, vinashaya cha dushkritam. To kill all the miscreants. And dharma samsthapanarthaya, in order to establish dharma. Now, which is the most important of the three? The first one. Paritranaya sadhu. All the others, vinashaya dushkritam, he doesn't even have to think. His Sudarshan Chakra can go and kill anybody. Krishna doesn't have to think. He doesn't need to appear himself. So, nothing. He doesn't have to do anything. The only reason he comes is to give happiness to his devotees. So, that is what it's said here. And Satyavrata Muni says, Punaha prematas tam shatavritti vande. I bow down to him hundreds and hundreds of times with love. Premataha. Okay. And then he says, Varam deva moksham na mokshavadhim va.
Varam deva moksham
मोक्षं न मोक्षावधिं वा
न चान्यं वृणेऽहं वरेषादपीह.
न चान्यं वृणेऽहं वरेषादपीह
इदं तेव पुरनाथ गोपालबालम्.
इदं देव पुरनाथ गोपालबालम्
सदा मे मनस्याविरास्थां किं मन्यैः.
सदा मे मनस्या
So he says, O Krishna, O Deva, O worshipable one, you can give any kind of varam, any kind of boon. You can give moksha, and you can give more than moksha also. You can give liberation. More than liberation is what is more than liberation? Who can tell me? What is higher than liberation?
To reach Vaikuntha?
Yes, to reach Vaikuntha and do what?
No more birth again.
No more birth is moksha. What is moksha vadim? You're right, going to Vaikuntha. But going to Vaikuntha and doing what?
To serve him.
To serve him. Yes. So it is not necessary that we go to Vaikuntha. We can serve him anywhere. But that service, he should allow us to do that service, na? See, I can say, oh, Parthasarthi Prabhu, I want to serve you. I am going to come every morning to your house at 4 o'clock and I'm going to knock on the door. I'm going to wake you up. I'm going to serve you. And you say, Arey Baba, don't. I don't even want to see you. It doesn't work, right? I mean, we may have all the desire that we want to serve the Lord. But the Lord also has to reciprocate. So he's saying, you can give moksha very easily. You can even give more than moksha. You can do what you like, Bhagavan. But I do not want anything from you. What do I want? This Gopala Balam, this Bala Gopala Rupa that you have right now, this baby Gopal form, I want that it always stays in my heart. Sada me manasi avirastham. And he says, Kim manyai? What else do I need? Now, what form is he talking about? Let's go back to our story. So, here you have Mother Yashoda running after Krishna. Finally, she catches him. She catches him and she lifts the stick and she sees that Krishna is crying. He's crying, he's really very, very afraid. So Mother Yashoda puts the stick down. She says, oh my God, my poor boy is so scared. This is not good. This is not good. I love him so. I cannot punish him. But then she thinks, but then I have to punish him. He has to know that what he did was wrong. So what shall we do? She tells him, nah, beta, don't cry, don't cry. Come, let's go home. Let's go home. First, let's go home. So she takes him home. And then she tells him, you were very naughty. You climbed on the mortar, on the okla to get all the butter. So you and that okla, both of you are thieves. You're both partners in crime. You know, every house you go, you take that okla, you climb up, and then you in their house, you take their okla, you climb up and you take butter. Everywhere you're doing this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bind you to the mortar. So here you have Krishna running away again with Mother Yashoda following him. And then she starts to tie him to the mortar. So she brings him home and she ties and starts to tie him to the mortar. And everybody's looking on and they're laughing. Look, there are some kids also in the background here. Okay, who are giggling away. And Krishna is standing there crying, going, my mom is tying me. Now she's got a rope. Okay, and she's tied it around the okla and now she's tying it around Krishna. And as she comes to put the knot, the rope is short by 2 fingers. So she brings more rope, ties it to this rope. And then again she goes around and then she tries putting the knot. It's again short by 2 fingers. In this manner, she gets more rope and more rope and more rope, and all that rope just seems to disappear into this rope. And it's always short by 2 fingers. So she looks at all her friends who are standing there. Everybody's in wonderment and they are laughing. They're telling Mother Yashoda, Are, Yashoda, chhod de isko. Leave him. You cannot bind him. He cannot be bound. Leave him. He's a magician. Leave him. Mother Yashoda says, no. You all have ropes in your house. Go, bring it. So they all go. They bring all the rope. All the rope in Vraja is now here. And they are trying to bind Krishna and it's always short by 2 fingers. So why 2 fingers? What is the significance of 2 fingers?
Jivatma, Paramatma.
Okay. Would you care to explain that a little bit? And why is it not getting tied?
Because Jivatma cannot tie Paramatma unless he surrenders fully.
Yes. Okay. Okay. We'll hold on to that answer for a little bit, Prabhuji. Anybody else? Why 2 fingers? The 2 fingers represent, the first finger represents our endeavor. So like Prabhuji said, the Jivatma is trying to tie the Lord. Okay, of course, here Yashoda is not a Jivatma. She is the Lord's own energy, Shakti, so Devaki is his Shakti, Yashoda is his Shakti. The Lord cannot just accept anybody as his parents. No? So they are all very exalted beings. So Mother Yashoda has managed to catch him. She's managed to tie him up. But she's not able to bind. Why? So on one hand is her own endeavor. But on the other hand, who is she trying to tie? It is the Supreme Lord himself. And unless he wishes to be tied, she cannot tie him. So the 2 fingers represent our endeavor and the Lord's will. Now, out of these 2, which is more important? Our endeavor or the Lord's will? Which is more important?
His willingness.
His willingness. Does anybody say our endeavor? I would argue that our endeavor is more important. And I will support that by saying, when we take one step towards Krishna, Krishna takes 1,000 steps towards us. In fact, he is waiting. The Lord is constantly waiting for us to surrender to him, for us to go towards him, for us to try and catch him. He's just waiting. Which is why when we do even a small little bit of service, the Lord accepts it as something very big. And he says, he says, one of his names in the Vishnu Sahasranamam is what? Kritagya. Kritagya has two meanings. One, Kritagya means one who is grateful. The second meaning is he is the knower, Jna, of Krita. Whatever is being done or has been done, he knows everything. So when we do even the tiniest little bit, he knows it, he acknowledges it. So of the two, it is not the Lord who is, lazy in reciprocating. We are lazy in taking the first step. Na? Doing bhakti is very easy. It's very simple. But most people will have an argument against doing bhakti. It can be any argument. Now, in that case, whose fault is it? Which finger is it? It's our endeavor. Because once we go down this path, what did we learn in the second chapter? What does Krishna say? There is no diminution or loss in this endeavor. No? Once we go down this path, there is no going back because Krishna pulls you. He makes sure that you keep progressing. Even if we try to walk away, he will not allow us. He loves us so much. So our endeavor is very important. So in the two fingers, our endeavor is very important. So finally, coming back to the story. Finally, again, Krishna feels sorry for poor Mother Yashoda and he allows himself to be tied. And he's standing there crying. Okay. Now, this is the picture which Satyavrata Muni says, Sada me manasi avaristham. Kim manyai. If this picture of the Lord is constantly in my heart, what more do I need? And that's true, isn't it? I mean, just look at this picture. It's so beautiful. There's another one here. Oh, I am so scared, Mom. He's so beautiful. So going forward in our song, we come to number 5. Idam te mukham bhojam atyanta nilayir.
idam te mukhabhojam atyanta
Vritam kuntalai snigdharataischa gopya.
vritam kuntalai snigdharataischa gopya
Muhushchumbitam bimbaraktadharam me.
muhushchumbitam bimbaraktadharam me
Manasya virasthamalam lakshalabhai.
manasya virashthamalam lakshalabhai.
He says this beautiful face, which is surrounded by curly bluish color hair, so shiny, snigdha. Huh? and the beautiful red lips, which are constantly being kissed by Mother Yashoda. She's constantly kissing Krishna on his face. He says, if this beautiful face stays in my heart, Alam, that's enough. Alam, that's more than enough. Laksha labhaihi. Labh means benefit. Laksha, lakhs. You give me lakhs of other things and say this is better, that is better. I will not agree. Alam, I just want this beautiful little face to be in my heart all the time. That's more than enough for me. And now Satyavrata Mani is overcome by so much love for the Lord, okay? Because he's seeing this beautiful face. He's seeing it all in his mind. Yeah. And he starts to sing. He says, Namo Deva Damodarananta Vishnu.
Namo Deva Damodarananta Vishnu.
Prasida Prabho Dukkha Jalabdimagnam.
Prasida Prabho Dukkha Jalabdimagnam.
Kripa Drishti Vrishtyati Dinam Batanu.
Kripa Drishti Vrishtyati
Grihane Shamamagnyam Medhyakshi Drishya. So he's saying, Namo, I bow down, O Lord, Damodara, O Ananta, O Vishnu. Prasida Prabho, please be kind to me. Dukkha Jalabdhi Magnam. I am caught in this waters of dukkha. Remember, we talk about this material world as being what? A huge ocean. So he's saying this huge ocean is so filled with sorrow and it's like a net. You know, the spiders where get caught in it, you can't get out of it. So dukkha jalapti magnam. But I am very happy in this horrible world. Oh Lord, I'm so foolish. I am so foolish. I don't realize that I'm actually in a place of suffering. And I'm very happy here. Now, please, oh my Lord, kripa drishti vrishtyatu. So please, my Lord, turn your eyes and look at me with some compassion. Kripa drishti. I am very deena. I'm such a poor fellow. Grihanesha, please hold my hand. Mam agyam, I'm so ignorant. Agya. And pull me out of this dukkha jala. Please pull me out. Grihanesha, please hold me and pull me out. He's praying to the Lord. And then he comes to the next part of the story. He says, Kuberatmajau baddha murtaiva yadvat. Tvaya mochitau bhakti bhajau kritau cha.
Tvaya mochitau bhakti bhajau kritau cha.
Tatha prema bhaktim swakamne prayacha.
Tatha prema bhaktim swakamne.
Namokshe graho mesti damodareha.
Namokshe graho damodareha.
So now he's telling us the story of Kuvera Atmajau. He says there are two sons of Kuvera. And we go back to our pictures, okay? So here, look at this picture. This is actually, based on the earlier picture, they have created little statues which are actually available in shops nowadays. for Damodara Leela. So, Kubera, Atmajau. So, Kubera is, who can tell me who's Kubera?
He is the Lord of Wealth.
Yes, he's the banker of the Devatas.
Yeah.
You know, he's the banker of the Devatas. So all the Devatas bank with him. And usually bankers are very wealthy. The people who put money in the banks are not so wealthy, but the bankers are very, very wealthy. Yeah? Now he had two sons called Manigriva and Nalakuvara. Now these two boys, usually, you know, rich kids, most rich kids tend to be spoiled. Some of them are really, really nice. But you'll see that a lot of them are spoiled. And these two, totally spoiled. Totally spoiled. They used to spend all their time drinking, womanizing, just generally having a good time. So they were, now Kuvera is very friendly with Lord Shiva. So they used to visit Kailash a lot, these boys. So one day they went to the Kailasha Parvat, and there in the Mandakini, the Ganga there, they were bathing with their girlfriends. They were completely intoxicated and they were naked. At that time, Narada Rishi came there. Now all the girls ran away. But these two boys were so drunk that they completely ignored Narada Rishi. And they came and stood in front of him naked and intoxicated. Narada Rishi got angry with them. He was actually more pained than angry. Why was he angry? He wasn't angry that he was being disrespected or anything. His anger was, you have been given this human form of life, which is so rare. Plus, you are so lucky. You are actually born in a place where you don't have to worry about anything, which means you can actually use your senses, your mind, your intelligence in the worship of the Lord, in doing bhakti. Instead, what are you doing? You're wasting your life. You're wasting your human form. You're wasting your intelligence. No other form of life has intelligence like the human form. So the human form has a higher responsibility. We all have a higher responsibility. Animals do not possess the kind of intelligence that we possess. So they are usually, you know, just eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. That's the four things which every living entity does, including human beings. Then what is the difference between us and the dog? So Narada Rishi says, you should be using your human form for a higher purpose, and you're not doing that. So I curse you both to become trees. From now on, you will be trees. And at the same time, I bless you that Lord Krishna himself will come and liberate the two of you. So the two boys are now in the form of a tree. And Krishna is now bound by Mother Yashoda. So what does he do? He's standing there feeling bored. And he sees all his friends, you know, playing far away. So he says, Chalo, I'll go and join my friends. So dragging that okhal behind him, it's quite heavy. Dragging it behind him, he starts to crawl along. Now there are two trees. The two trees are Manigriva and Nalakuvara, okay? They have been converted into two Arjuna trees. Now these two Arjuna trees are standing in the courtyard. As Krishna crawls through, the mortar falls between the two trees and gets stuck. When Krishna pulls, the two trees just fall apart with a big, huge crash. And these two heavenly figures come out. They come out and they offer beautiful prayers to the Lord. This is another picture. They praise him, they thank him, and they thank Narada Rishi They say we are so obliged to Narada Rishi for cursing us because it has now changed us. We are now totally your servants. We are your devotees. So Krishna is also very happy. He smiles at them and he says, thank you. You're very correct. You should be very grateful to Narada Rishi. Now you go back and in your next life, you will come straight to me. So they both disappear. And what happens? Krishna has liberated them both. But Krishna himself is still bound. Isn't that wonderful? Krishna has liberated two souls who were stuck in a tree, in the tree form. But he cannot open a simple knot which his mother has tied around his waist. This is the power of bhakti. This is the power of bhakti. When we love the Lord so much and we build a relationship with him, see, the whole thing comes down to relationship. Here, what is the relationship between Mother Yashoda and child Krishna? Mother and child. So, out of the 5, which bhava is this? Do you remember the 5 bhavas? You can be in. What are they?
Matrutva, this is
Yes, Vatsalya.
Vatsalya.
Vatsalya. So, what are the 5? Do you remember them?
One is
Sakya, Dasya,
non-living.
Vatsalya,
Yes, Shanta, the
and
first
Shanta.
Prema.
Prema.
Yeah. So you have Shanta, then you have
Vatsalya,
Dasya. So we go,
Dasya.
according to hierarchy. Shanta, which means, any tree, flowers, in Shanta bhav. There is no actual proactive service that's being done. So Shanta. Second is Dasya, as a servant. Dasya. Third is Sakhya, as a friend of Krishna. So, like Arjuna was a friend of Krishna, or all the cowherd boys were friends of Krishna. So, there the relationship is one of equal, total equality. Then you have Vatsalya,
Prema.
mother. So, here Krishna is the child, the parent. So, there is control. Okay? You can actually control the Supreme Lord. Look at this. And then you have Madhurya, his wives, the gopis. So here we see that Krishna reciprocates with us in the way we deal with him. So here, because Mother Yashoda thinks he is my child, he will not, suddenly say, no, 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 I am the Supreme Lord. What do you mean I'm your child? Here is my Sudarshan Chakra. I can cut anything. I'll cut this rope. My God, what will happen to that relationship then? The next thing you know, Mother Yashoda is falling at his feet. Isn't it? Now, would we like our mother coming and falling at our feet? What kind of relationship is that? It just doesn't make sense, right? So Krishna will not spoil a relationship by showing that he is the Supreme Person. In fact, he forgets that he's the Supreme Lord. Okay? And he reciprocates. So that is what Satyavrata Muni is saying. He says, Kuveratmajau baddha murtaiva yadvat
Viratmajau baddha murte yadvat
Vayamochitau bhakti bhajau kritau cha.
Vayamochitau bhakti bhajau kritau cha
Tatha prema bhaktim swakamni prayacha.
Tatha prema bhaktim swakamya prayacha
न मोक्षे ग्रहो मेऽस्ति दामोदरेह.
नमो ग्रहो मेस्ति दामोदरेह.
So you actually, Mochitao, you liberated the two boys of Kubera and you gave them bhakti. Now in that same way, tatha prema bhaktin, me prayacha, give me also. Please give me also that same prema bhakti. Na mokshe graho. I do not want moksha. Oh, don't give me liberation, moksha, this, that, and all, Bhagavan. Just give me prema bhakti. I only want prema bhakti. I only want to serve you with love. That's all I want. And then the last one says, Namaste Sudame Sfuraditi Dhamne
Namaste Sudame Puraditi Dame
Tvadiyodarayatha Vishwasya Dhamne Namo Radhikayai Tvadiya Priyayai
नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै.
Namo Nantalilayaya Devaya Tubhyam.
नमो नन्तलीलाय देवाय.
So he says, Namaste astu damne. Dam means rope. He says, I bow down to that rope. And I bow down to the stomach of yours, which is the source of all the universes. And by binding that stomach with a rope, Mother Yashoda has taken complete control over entire creation. And he says, Namo Radhikayai Tvadiya Priyayai. I bow down to Radhika, who is your beloved. Namo Ananta Leelaya Devaya Tubhyam. And I bow down to you, O Lord, who does innumerable pastimes, Leelas. So this is the story of Sri Damodara. Now the word Damodara means, Dama means, what does Dama mean? We just said?
Rope.
Rope. Excellent. And Udara means?
Stomach.
Yeah, Udara means stomach. So because Krishna was bound about the stomach with a rope, he's called Damodara. Okay. So we'll quickly look at the Bhagavad-Gita catur-shloki next. We'll just sing the 4 verses and we'll stop there. Okay. So the 4 seed verses, and these 4 verses, please try and learn them, and please try and basically say them every day at least once. It's equal to saying the full Bhagavad Gita. I mean, isse jada shortcut who can give you? Na? So let's start. This is chapter 10, verse number 8, 9, 10, and 11. Aham sarvasya prabhavo
अहं सर्वस्य प्रभवो
matta sarvam pravartate
मत्तः सर्वं प्रवर्तते.
iti matva bhajante mam
Iti
मत्वा भजन्ते मां
buddha bhava samanvitaha. So the meaning is, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So aham sarvasya prabhavo mattaha sarvam pravartate. I am the source of everything. Everything comes from me. Krishna is repeating himself. Why? Because we never get it the first time. Okay? And then he says, iti matva. Once you know this, what should you do? Bhajante mam. You should worship me. And worship me, why? Because I put a gun to your head. Huh? No. It's because bhava samanditaha. Once you know this, you should start to love me and worship me with your heart. Okay. Next. Machitta madgata prana.
Machitta madgata prana.
Bodhayantah parasparam.
Bodhayantah parasparam.
Kathayantascha mam nityam.
Kathayantascha mam nityam.
Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So, who is a pure devotee of the Lord? The definition is given here. How can you recognize if somebody says, I am Krishna Bhakta? How can you recognize them? You have a kanthi around your neck and tilak, so you're a Krishna Bhakta? Yes, but this actually gives you the final test. What do the pure devotees do? The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. They're always thinking about me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service. That does not mean they don't go for jobs. What do?
Sthita prajnan.
Stita pragya and bhakti yoga. Na? Whatever they do as service to the Lord. So their lives are fully devoted to my service. Everything that they do for me. Does that remind you? Does that remind anybody of that song? Everything I do it for you. That's the one. Yeah. And they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. And do they get bored doing this? Are Din Rat Krishna Krishna, do they get bored? Oh no, they love it. Great satisfaction and bliss. In fact, you tell them don't talk about Krishna, talk about something else, they'll get really bored. Okay? And then, so the first verse, Krishna tells us what is our sambandha. Remember, there are three things: sambandha, abhidheya, and prayojana. Sambandha gyan means what is our relationship. Abhidheya means once we know the relationship, what do we do about it? Prayojana, once we've done something, what is the result? Okay, so the first verse is Sambandha and Abhidheya. Second one is also Abhidheya. Okay, third one is Prayojana. Third and the fourth are Prayojana, the result. He says, Tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam iti purvakam dadami buddhiyogam tam yena mamupayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So one of the key words here is constantly. Not, oh, okay, Karthik month, I do everything. After that, so yeah. No, Krishna says constantly. You have to constantly love me. See, sometimes, yes, we are not feeling well, something is not all right, we can't do our service. That is different. But we have to get to that stage where we start to love him. And we need to keep doing that service constantly. I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Now, once we love Krishna, the constantly will happen. It will manifest. Yeah. Remember, we said initially there is no love. What is the definition of bhakti? Definition of bhakti?
Devotional service to the Lord.
Very good. You missed out one word, but.
Loving devotional.
Loving devotion.
Brilliant. Great. Loving devotional service. Yeah? So remember we said the love doesn't come initially. The devotion doesn't come initially. Initially it's only service. अरे करना है लेकिन करना है करो करो करो. Keep doing it. Then what happens? That relationship starts to be built. Then the devotion starts. Devotion means what? One day if I don't do it, अरे आज अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है. Today I did not do आरती. That is not good. I don't feel good about it. That is the devotion. So once the devotion, the constant devotion starts, the love will manifest. So loving devotional service works backwards. Service converts to devotion, which then becomes love. Just like, remember we had talked about this like an arranged marriage. Initially you don't know the person. अरे किससे शादी कर रहे हैं क्या पता है ना? And then okay, both of you are serving each other, taking care of each other, and all of a sudden what happens? I can't live without that person anymore, isn't it? That is bhakti. So once we come to that stage with the Lord, Krishna says, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Now, how does he give the understanding? That is in the next verse. Teshamevanukampatham
Teshamevanukampartham
aham ajnanajam tamaha
ajnanajam tamaha
nashayamyatma bhavastho
nashayamabhavasto
jnanadipena bhasvata.
jnanadipena bhasvata.
To show them special mercy, I dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. So Krishna says, मैं कोई चिट्ठी विट्टी नहीं भेजता हूँ. I'm sitting in everyone's heart as Paramatma. From inside, I just clean. Cheto darpana marjana. I just clean that mirror inside. And all of a sudden, everything is visible. All that knowledge is visible. And once that darkness is destroyed, it becomes even more easy for us to serve the Lord. So, bhakti is the goal, and bhakti is the means to reach that goal. What is my goal? My goal is to serve Krishna. What is that called? Loving devotional service to Krishna, bhakti. Now, how do I get there? By doing bhakti. So bhakti is the path and bhakti is the goal. There is no difference. So we don't have to worry कि अरे आज किया है तो इसका फल क्या है? What is the result? Remember what does Krishna say in the second chapter? He says, don't worry about the results. Don't worry about the results. You just focus on what you're doing. Nah? He says that. So same thing. Pick up bhakti, just keep doing it. That is all we have to do. There is nothing. Simplest process. Kuch nahi karna hai. Just pick up a mala, chant his name. That's all. That is the best form of bhakti. Okay. So, any questions? Any comments? Anything? Okay, then we'll stop here. Sorry, I've gone a little over time. But thank you so much for your patience. And thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Ishan Prabhu, and thank you, Seema Mataji as well. So we'll see you. Oh, before you all go, today is the last time we're going to see Sanchita and Aditya from Auckland. Next week, they are going to be in Christchurch. They are moving there. So they're actually leaving on Monday. So please don't deprive us of your association. Please do keep joining us.
Sure,
Okay.
Mataji.
And all the very, 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 very best to you
Best
both.
of luck.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All
All
the
the
best.
best. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you,
All the
Mataji.
best.
Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Krishna's blessings.
Hare Krishna. Thank
Yeah.
you, Lakshmi
Thank
Mataji.
Thank
you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
And
Krishna.
Ishan Prabhu, you're most welcome to join us anytime you feel like, okay? We meet every Saturday and Sundays at 7 p.m. So anytime you're free, please feel free to pop in.
Definitely.
Okay?
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Simaji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hitubai. Did you enjoy the story? Acha, gaya. Okay. Hare Krishna, Ma.
Hare Krishna.